SwimOutlet.com delivers the best online shopping experience. With an extensive selection and the lowest prices, you're guaranteed to find the product you need. Here's what you get. Free shipping on all orders over $49. Free 1 to 2 day shipping on all orders over $99. All orders placed by 6 p.m. ship out the same day. Shop at SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Thursday, July 26, 2012. I'm your host, Tiffany Elias, and the Olympic Games are only days away. The opening ceremony begins tomorrow, and Saturday will kick off with day one of the swimming competition. Today we are going to analyze the women's events, and helping me do that in the Finis Monitor is John Lohn, Swimming World's senior writer. Now, John, I'll be seeing you in a few short days in London, but thanks for joining me ahead of time to analyze the women's side of things.
Yeah, can't wait to get over there, Tiffany. We're going to be in for a real treat, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Now, in front of me, I have some predictions that you've made for each event going into London. Let's start off with the sprint freestyle because it's the same swimmer you have on top for both the 50 and the 100 freestyle, Renomi Kromowidjojo. You have her taking the 50 and the 100, so still set with that prediction?
Yeah, I think she's been too good this year to not go with her. The consistency, the speed's been there. She's by far the fastest woman, 52 in the 100, 52.7 I think in the 100, 23 or 24 low in the 50 free. Both best times ever in a textile suit. There's just no way you can't go with her.
Now, Germany's Britta Steffen, she's the defending champion in both those events and also the current world record holder. But you're foreseeing a bronze medal in both those events for her. So is she just that far behind Kromowidjojo?
Well, I think I actually went out on a limb even having her in the medal predictions. While she's the defending champ in both, she hasn't exactly lit it up since Beijing. There were some downtimes. She showed at the European Championships that she was on her way back, and I think that was a good sign. Maybe she's just going to click when it matters the most. But I think it might be even a reach to have her in there. I figured let me go with the veteran, somebody with experience and who knows how to get it done when it matters.
Well, similar stories for the 200 and 400 freestyle, at least for the third place position. You have those defending champions still making the medal stand, but right behind Alison Schmidt leading the 200 freestyle, and she's going to come in second behind Camille Muffat for the 400. So in our middle distance freestyles, it's really looking like a showdown between Muffat and Schmidt.
Yeah, I really like the way Alison looked in Omaha. And even when I picked her to win the 200 free, I really had a hard time doing that. Just with the way the French woman Camille Muffat has been performing. Look, she has been so consistent. 154 a couple times in the 200. She's been 401, I believe, in the 400. It was really tough to pull the trigger. I just really like the way Alison Schmidt's been continuing to swim well. So I gave her the sprint of the middle distances, the 200. I gave Muffat the 400. And I think I think those two races there could be some of the best we'll see on the women's program.
Allison was so dominant at the U.S. trials, so I think that's going to give her a lot of confidence going into London. But now, where is Federica Pellegrini in all of this?
Well, she's going to be there. She's too talented to not be. She has the experience on the international stage as an Olympic champion, as a world champion. And then you have to add in Rebecca Adlington from Great Britain, who I guess we'll talk about a little more in the 800 free. But she's the reigning champ in the 400, and these are just stacked events. And I guess that's the way things go at the Olympics. You have these events where they're 6, 7 deep in terms of potential medalists.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of depth in these events. Speaking of the 800, you have Rebecca Adlington coming back to win the 800. But I think the storyline here is Katie Ledecky in a potential run for that silver medal.
The question with Katie Ledecky is, well, I guess there's two questions. Number one, can she repeat what she did at trials when she had a career best? And how much faster can she get? We've seen major jumps in her performances, dropping time by sizable margins over the past 6, 7 months. And now the question is, what does 4 more weeks give her? When you're 15 years old, sometimes all you need is 4 more weeks to really crank it up and deliver another personal best. She's going to need that if she wants to be in the mix with Adlington.
Well, I definitely think based off how she handled trials, she just doesn't seem intimidated for her age. So I'm not sure that we'll see a case of stage fright getting to the young swimmer, but it'll be interesting to see what the additional couple weeks gives her base.
Right.
Moving into the backstroke, are both of these clear races for Missy Franklin?
The 200 is. Can't see anybody taking her down there. I am interested in the 200 to see what Kirsty Coventry has. She's looking for a third straight title. Don't see it happening, and I think a medal is also going to be a difficult ask for her. The 100 back is going to be a little tougher for Missy. She has her own teammate in Rachel Bootsma, Emily Seabaum from Australia. This might be the deepest event on the program for the women. I just think Missy's going to get it done in both because her talent is ridiculously off the charts. And a sweep is what I'm going with there, but I do feel better about the 200 back.
Yeah, I would agree with that prediction. And we were also hoping for the world record in the 200 backstroke at trials. She was just off of it, but I don't want to say that's in the bag, but I think the chances are pretty good in that 200.
I think it's a much better shot here. I think we'll see a 204 from her.
All right, so similar to the backstroke, on the breaststroke side, Rebecca Soni, 100 breaststroke, 200 breaststroke. She's been the queen going into these events, but we saw a devastating loss in that 100 breaststroke at trials. Not devastating, but I think a big upset when everybody really assumed she was going to get it, but Bria Larson in for the touch. But on the Olympic platform, do you think that's going to be a sweep as well?
I see Rebecca winning both of these. I don't think she was concerned with peaking at all at trials. I think everything has been focused on London, getting the job done there. I think we'll see her take both of these and reaffirm her status as the undisputed queen of the breaststroke. I'm curious to see in the 100 what Liesl Jones of Australia does. She's looking to medal in her 4th straight Olympics in the 100 breast. That would be an unprecedented feat.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think she's going to be a contender in the 100, but 200, like Missy Franklin, the USA women are looking really strong in those stroke events. Now moving into the 100 and 200 butterfly, some events that the U.S. isn't so deep in. On the 100 side, though, Dana Vollmer, I think, is going to be in the mix. She's had really stellar and strong 100 butterflies leading up. Sarah Joystrom, though, she's going to be one to beat there in the 100 butterfly.
That should just be a head-to-head showdown. I can't see anybody else coming out to battle with Vollmer and Joystrom in the 100 fly. It's going to be a matter of Vollmer taking the race out and then Joystrom trying to track her down over the last 15, 20 meters. So it'll be a different styles clash there. Could see 55 high for the first time, which would be pretty unbelievable. Both women have had tremendous seasons prepping for it, so that should be one that gets things started off the back. That's a day 1, day 2 event.
All right, now Natsumi Hoshi in the 200 butterfly. Do the U.S. have a realistic chance of medaling in this event?
I don't see it. And to be honest, this is the event I had the most difficult time picking any of the medalists because I thought you could throw a blanket over 5 to 7 of them. Chinese are sending Liu Zige, who's the defending champ, and she was terrible at trials. And there was even question at one point of whether she was going to even be on the Chinese Olympic team. They gave her the pass to go. So maybe she gets everything right and clicks when she needs to. But this is Ellen Gandy from Great Britain, Katinka Hozu from Hungary, Hoshi from Japan. It's a really difficult event to pick at the top, with the exception of I just don't see the Americans battling in for any of those top 3 spots.
Now, moving on to the 200 and 400 IM, these are some interesting events as well for the Americans. On the 200 IM side, Stephanie Rice is going to be the defending champion, but also out in front is Yi Shiwen of China. This is going to be a pretty tough race too, but also your predictions and where USA falls in that 2IM.
I think Caitlin Leverins and Ariana Kukors will both make the final. And so you get to the final and you give yourself a chance. But the way Ye Shiwen closed last year at the World Championships, if you remember that, her freestyle leg, she blew everybody out of the water to win the gold at the World Champs. And if she's even lurking at the 150 mark, forget about it. I don't know if there's anybody that can handle her over that last lap. Stephanie Rice will be there. So it will definitely be an exciting race, but I do like the Chinese youngster.
All right, so moving on to the 4IM, Beisel on top. I do think this is going to be her event. I feel confident in this 4IM for her.
This is where she breaks through and gets that Olympic gold medal. She was 4th as a real youngster in Beijing. she's been so consistent on the international stage. Look, nobody expects, a lot like Ryan Lochte on the men's side, nobody expects anything from Elizabeth during the middle of the season. She's broken down from Greg Troy's training, but when it's time for the big meets, they always hit. She's the world champion. She looked great at trials, and I think she comes in here carrying a lot of confidence and really looking to establish herself as that premier 400 IMer in the world.
All right, so now looking on the team front, moving into the relays, we've got USA on top for the 400 medley and the 800 freestyle. But do you foresee some challenges in that 4x100 freestyle relay with the Netherlands, given Ranomi Kromowidjojo out in front?
Yeah, I think the Dutch return their team from that's not only the reigning Olympic champ, but has also won the last 2 world titles. So they have a really solid team across the board. When you look at Kromowidjojo, Femke Heemskerk's there, Marlene Veldhuis, Inga Dekker, that's probably the crew they're going to go with. That might be just a little too much for anybody else to handle. It's a solid American squad. The Australians are very strong. They'll be there. You don't know exactly what China's going to bring to the table, but you do know they'll be competitive.
All right, so overall, in the team standings, who is USA's biggest competition?
I think you have to look at Australia. That's just the way it's shaken out over how many decades now. They have a solid team. You go along each event, you have Kylie Palmer in the middle distance events. You have a Kate Campbell in the sprints. Lyston Pickett and Liesl Jones in terms of the breaststrokes. Jessica Schipper, Alicia Coots. I mean, the names go on and on for Australia in terms of being able to field really strong medal contenders. So that should be the team that gives the United States a run for the lead in the medal count.
All right, John. Well, I look forward to watching these races with you live in London. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you tomorrow to recap the guys' races heading into London in just a few days.
Sounds good, Tiffany. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, John. Well, that will conclude today's morning swim show. Join us for part 2 tomorrow when we'll discuss the men's events in London. Remember to keep up with all the results and news throughout the Olympic Games on swimmingworld.com and also by following us on Facebook and Twitter. John and I will be on site in London reporting back to Swimming World, so make sure to keep up with all the coverage. Tune in to Swimming World TV Warm Down Show after each final session for an in-depth analysis of each night. I'm Tiffany Elias, and we'll see you tomorrow.